welcome to another episode of Resining of the Living Dead. I believe this is episode 54. And what we're going to be attempting to do today is putting this dried flour into this clear resin ball. So what we've done is we have mixed up about 254 mLs of 2-part KHKD resin. The flour has been drying out for about 30 days in a flour drying silica sand, and the link will be in the description. So what we are going to do first is we are going to put this flour into the cup of resin because we want to get it coated nicely. So we're going to just very, very gently take it into here. And we're just going to push it down a little bit and let it get covered because we want it to be completely covered because it's going to be upside down in the pot, in the holder, in the mold. So we're just going to use our stick and let it completely cover up and sink down and get some of that inner bubbles out. Because the last thing we want to do is have too many bubbles and then float to the top. We want it to try to stay in the middle, but I'm not sure how we're going to get it to stay in there without any kind of stick or string plastic piece. We could have done, I think maybe we could have done like a UV resin post behind it. But that's okay. So we're just going to keep pouring this over. You can see it's starting to sink. And you can see the bubbles coming out. There's a big one right there. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the mold and we're going to pour some into it to start. I'm not too worried about the initial bubbles because it is going to go into the pressure pot for about 24 hours. What I am concerned about is getting it into this tiny mouthpiece. So I think what we're going to do, if we are going to try to stretch this guy out enough to get him in sideways. Now we're going to be getting resin on our gloves, but that's, you know, why we wear gloves. And we're going to try our best to not tear apart this flour. And I hit the thing. So let me flip this over and get the bottom of this flour. And I don't think it's going to work. We're going to find out. So very carefully, I'm going to set it here, and then I'm going to try to use my fingers to stretch this apart and then get it to drop in there. There we go. And then we're going to just take this and flip it over to how we want it in there, which is going to be like that. And then, without hitting this again, we're going to pour the rest of the resin in to fill it up. And it is going to float. We'll fix that in a second. Wow. So I think my scale is off because I did 254, 264, and you see it's not even filling. So we're going to have to make some more resin here in a minute. In the meantime, let me just use my hands to flip this guy over and get him pushed down like so. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get these gloves off, and then we're going to mix up some more resin. I think we're going to need a couple ounces more. I'm going to clean off my hands because I got resin on it too. So let me do that and we will be right back. Alright, so we've mixed up about 4 more ounces of the 2-part resin. We are going to pour it into this mold, nice and easy. And I'm hoping that it's enough to fill it up. I think it will be. And then what we are going to do is we're going to push this guy back down because he is way too much at the top of this mold. And I think that's going to be problematic as it's going to try to rise no matter what. We're just going to push it down a little bit. I think it's going to float up regardless. Alright, so we need a plan. And I don't think it's going to... I think it's going to rise up no matter what we do. So we can either hold it here for a moment. You see them bubbles coming out. And I think that's probably part of the problem. We could try to turn it. So maybe let's turn it a little bit and see if we can't dislodge some of those bubbles that are causing it to float. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work either. And if we push it all the way down, it's still going to float up. So, I think what we're going to need to do is come up with something that's going to keep it at that position while we're waiting for it to thicken up a little bit, because it's not really thickening up. It's gonna, you see that it's gonna float right out to the top. I think what we could do is make a UV resin post and have it just enough to push it down, and hopefully it would be clear and you wouldn't see it, and we could just bracket it against this stick until it's done. Alright, let's try that. So what we're going to do is we are going to get our UV resin, and on our silicone mat here we're going to make just a like a post. Then I'm going to use my black light to try to thicken it up, and we'll see if it hardens. Let's do this. Let's make a couple. Let's make 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 3. You can see that right there. 1, 2, 3. We're going to make 3 UV posts, and then we're going to affix them to our popsicle stick, kind of like a triangle, like a 3-prong piece, and then hopefully that will push it down. So we don't have to worry about it solidifying yet. We've got time. But what I do need to do is just take my black light here. I'm going to move my camera real quick so you can see. I'm going to take my black light and I'm going to solidify the UV resin. And then what we'll do is we will affix it to a popsicle stick. Oh, it's not hardened. I think my battery's running out on this thing, and I don't know where my other one went. And we'll see if that works. Okay, that's not going to solidify. I don't know why. Alright, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to pause the video and be right back. Alright, so what we're going to try to do here is use this UV post to just kind of push this guy down, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try. And just see if we can set this piece on top just enough that that's going to hold it down. I don't think it's going to hold it down where I want it to be. Oh no. Alright, hold on. I'm going to turn this guy a little bit because we need him to be that way. Oh, this is going to be a disaster. What a mess. And what a... Alright, you know what? It's still pushing it up. And I think that's going to be the best we can do with this attempt. It's not going to work out right. Okay. I need something else. Alright, we're going to take a moment, go back to the drawing board, and I'll be right back. Alright, so our flour is out of the pressure pot. I think these are just air bubbles on the outside, and that'll be okay. What we're going to do is we're going to mix up a little bit of a solid color, and we're going to pour it on the bottom just to give it a solid base, probably just black. So what I'm going to do is mix up just a little bit and pour it in here, and probably pop it back in the pressure pot for a few hours and then see what our finished product is. So, but for right now, it's out. You can kind of see it in there, and it looks like it dried it out a lot compared to what it was before. So for an attempt, we shall see how it goes. We'll be right back. We are back to demold, and it looks like the dark part sunk down from the top into the bottom, completely obscuring the flour. So we're just gonna undo this and see how bad it was. Yeah, unfortunately, this is a fail. So you can see we've got some bubbles here, but look what happened. The dark went all the way down and around. There's a couple bubbles from the spaces in the mold. I mean, you could see the flour in there, but it just didn't work. And here, what we were trying to do was have this piece to where it could sit. And while it's visible, the dark part settled down around the outer part. So this is going to get chalked up as a fail, and we will go back to the drawing board on this one too. If you enjoyed watching the video, please hit that like button. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when other videos are released. Shares are always appreciated. And if you have some suggestions on how to avoid this problem, please by all means drop them in the comments. I will be happy to read them and I will respond to them all. Until next time, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.